All right, hello and welcome to another Call of Dragons video. I'm Sergeant Jay. I'm bringing you a guide on the Elite Frost Giant because we're about to fight him in the next like 15 hours. And just for my alliance, Lion slash Rose slash Bat, whatever we're going to be called tomorrow, I put on my sergeant uniform. I'm ready. This video is for us, right? Because we're going to get that giant frame in about 16 hours when server resets, as long as we follow the advice in this video, okay? We looked all across YouTube, couldn't find any good videos that do a good job explaining, that have like decent English. So hopefully for those that understand English in Lion, this you're gonna love this video much more than the other ones that have been posted. All right, so that's the whole purpose of it. Anyway, I don't need to talk about the first two skills. This just says there's gonna be a healing stone. This one says after 8 minutes we're all gonna die. Um, but this one here we need to talk about. So actually, no, we'll get there in a second. So Frostfire is the most important skill to talk about first that the giant's gonna do. So every it's about 14 to 20 seconds in the round, in first phase, the giant is going to target three legions with Frostfire. So you're gonna see like a icicle looking thing around in a circle around your legion. If that's the case, you want to move away from other players and not stand on top of or close to the other legions that have the Frostfire. You also want to be close enough to the giant that we can all hide behind the icicle when it gets to that point. However, you don't want to be too close to the giant because he's just going to knock it down, and we want these icicles to stay intact. So I'm going to say that you want to stay about 4 legion spaces away from the giant if you've got this on you, but don't stand next to all your buddies because as soon as the spire comes, it's going to hit everyone within a short radius of that player. All right. So this is important. So there's going to be 3. He's going to do it twice. Okay. So it's okay if we lose like 1 or 2 or even 3 icicles, but we want 3 to remain intact so we can hide behind them later. All right. So which brings up the next skill. Okay. After he does the icicles, he's going to do the snowball fight. So that means he's going to target 1 legion, and there's going to be a huge red circle saying, "Hey, snowball incoming." And hopefully that snowball won't take out one of the icicles. So this is why it's important that whoever does have the Frostfire kind of moves away from other players because next thing you know, someone randomly is going to get targeted with the snowball, and wherever it lands, if there's an icicle there, it's going to pop that icicle. Okay. So next, locking all legions, airborne, throwing. Okay, when it gets to phase 2, it's gonna knock us all back. Okay, there's nothing out of the ordinary there. Okay, massive icicles in its lair. Okay, this is also part of phase 2. It's saying that once we knock it down below 50% health, then he stops casting this skill. Okay. All right, so Snow Boulder, he's gonna mark an enemy legion outside a frozen area. Okay, and then it's gonna roll towards that person. So what does that mean? It means that in phase 2, if we don't all hide on the right side of the screen, then and if slow DPS like archers and mages try to run across to the left side to collect one of the stones, well, he's going to target one of you and take out you and all of your buddies unless you're on the right side hiding behind an icicle. Okay, this takes out 100% of your legion's health, so it's an instant kill, and it can kill dozens of players if they're all lined up in a line. Okay, so this is why it's so important that you follow the advice that's coming later in the video. Okay. All right, during second stage, he's going to take less damage. Okay, so we're going to talk about this in a second. All right, Frost Mana Stones. So there's going to be some mana stones produced on the far left side of the screen. Each gathered mana stone reduces the frost giant's defense by 10%. Okay, so only 10 mana stones could be gathered. So what does this mean? That it's extra 100% um, defense buff that it's going to get, or damage, what do we call this? Damage mitigation buff needs to be decreased so that we can damage the boss, right? So not only does whoever collects this mana stone get an attack buff of 50%, but they also basically deal 10% damage to his resistance. Okay, so it's his damage mitigation buff will be reduced. So we want to get 8, 9, or 10 of these mana stones, but we don't want to suicide all of our troops either. Okay, so that means that we're going to have a few people that should be designated in advance ahead of time. They have really high speed, like at least 40%, um, that can attempt to gather the mana stones on the left side. All right. Primal Strength, that's just the normal, he's immune to debuffs. Okay, Frost Giant destroys an icicle upon reaching it. Okay, this is what I was explaining before. If he's attacking you and you're standing next to an icicle, he's going to destroy it. Okay. Um, Same thing. There's just normal arc attack, also forward arc attack that he does. But he stomps on the ground and will destroy icicles also in the forward arc. Okay. Um, Same thing. Don't stand near him or you'll get hit. Okay. Um, Frost Giant swings its mighty arms, deals damage to all enemy legions in a forward rectangle. Okay, so here you'll see a rectangle on the screen. This one is, you can see a stronger attack. There's 500 damage if you're standing on that rectangle. To get out of the rectangle, pretty basic. Okay, finally we have My Cave, My Rules. Okay, this is a huge attack, 50% of your legion's health. So if you have 235,000, or let's pick a round number, 230,000 in your legion, you're going to lose 115,000 if you don't hide behind an icicle during this attack. Needless to say, this is a very, very important um, mechanic to know about and to avoid. So don't stand too far away from the 3 or 4 icicles that are on the map after the second round of this one. No, this one, Frostfire. So he'll cast Frostfire twice before doing My Cave, My Rules. And you can practice this in the Behemoth Trials section of the game. So you should practice this multiple times before the elite fight. Especially if you did the normal Frost Giant, then you should be practicing this while waiting the hour to be able to fight him for the second time for elite. Okay, now it's really important that we talk about the following 3 elite skills that the giant's going to have. All right, so now let's talk about the elite giant's extra skills and buffs that it's going to have. Okay, so this is normal. Every elite behemoth is going to have increases in HP, attack, and defense. Okay, so he's just stronger, tankier, harder to kill. Also, he reduces your speed, so you're not going to be as fast as you think you are. Excuse me, not going to be as fast as you think you are in the elite fight, which is why it's important to not try to gather the mana stones if you're a slow archer or mage. Let the, I would say infantry, but you'll see in a second why there won't be any infantry in this fight. Let the cavalry handle this, okay? Next skill, 1 minute after the behemoth enters battle. So your legions won't be able to cast artifact skills, okay? So this means you're only going to be able to cast one artifact skill for the entire fight. What does this mean for the Alliance? This means that uh, infantry tanks are practically useless, okay, because they can't use their mask. It's already hard enough to be a tank and to hold aggro with a mask because there's always some archer or mage that uses an artifact and then deals aggro. However, they can't use artifacts anymore. So I think if Buckingham brings his tank If it's big enough, he might be able to keep aggro for most of the fight, but we'll see. But either way, there's no point in having a lot of tanks in this fight. You guys need to all bring your DPS, and we need a handful of cavalry, as you'll see. So it's good to have 6 or 7 cavalry in the fight, but you don't want to have too many because they'll, I don't know, they tend to mess things up. So anyway, Curse Snow. Snow Boulder deals physical damage every 1 second. So there is um this extra damage. You're gonna take 1% damage um throughout the fight. So it's if you're outside of the frozen areas, which this is talking about phase 2. So it's just you're gonna lose. You're gonna take damage every second during phase 2, basically. Okay, so now let's look at an actual video of the fight so that we can talk about it. All right, so you can see I'm covering up some other dude in his video since um, we haven't had Frost Giant open yet in our server. Okay, so obviously I'm gonna walk you through this fight. Okay, so you'll see everything should go for the most part the way you've seen it in the Behemoth trials. Okay, but you can see here what's happening. The giant is just attacking the melee units, the tanks. Everyone else is able to attack him. However, if you pay attention to these sections here, you can see that 3 units are about to have the ice spires pop up. Okay, so if that's you that has the spire around it, you want to move away from the other players kind of close to the giant without getting too close, if that makes sense. So this one here on the left is a little too far back. You don't want to be on the edges. You want people to be able to hide behind the ice spire. So you want to move closer to the giant without getting too close. Okay, and then you can see that anyone that was close to those players was hit by the spire. Now everyone wants to move away from the spires. Okay, don't stand next to the spire because if the giant targets you, then with this red circle that I was talking about, then and you're standing next to a spire, that boulder's gonna knock out the spire. But you could see these players were far enough away from the icicle, so you can see the boulder is coming in the air. It's about to land right here. So anyone that was standing here and sees the red circle needs to move away because it will hit every single unit, every single player that's there. Okay, but the good thing is that it didn't take out either of the icicles. You want to keep these up so you can hide behind them for later. All right, so now there should be another round of icicles. Okay, there you go. 1, 2, and I can't see the third one. It might be hiding behind his head. Okay, so you can see this guy stood too far to the edge. Now the icicle is far, far to the left. No one will be able to hide behind this icicle. All the other ones, however, are in a good position except for this guy here. You also don't want to stand next to another icicle if you've got the icicle on you, because now there's not enough space between these icicles for somebody to move behind it. Okay, so let's see what I was talking about. So you'll see another, there should be another snowball. There it is again, going toward these players over here. Hopefully they move out of the way. They didn't. But see how he was too close to the icicle? It was destroyed by the snowball. All right, so this is, I'm gonna pause it. This is the big skill that you want to avoid. All right, so as soon as you start seeing these blue lines behind the icicles, and you can see there's a clock timer, 9 seconds left. They now have only 9 seconds. Let's see how long they had when it started. Okay. So there were 12 seconds to run behind an icicle. So if you're up here, if you're one of these players up here near the giant to the left of him, and that icicle just got destroyed next to you, you're probably not going to be able to make it in time. Okay. So keep that in mind. After the second time you see these icicles appear under people, don't just keep attacking. Start thinking about your next move. Make sure that you're at least within, a certain distance of these icicles so you can get behind one of them because you're only going to have 12 seconds. So you can see these guys here aren't paying attention. They just keep attacking. So they're about to lose 50% of their health. So these, all of them just got hit. They completely ignored this skill because they thought they were going to kill the giant really quickly. Okay, but in our server, our season 2, they've made the giant difficult enough that we're not going to be able to just kill him within 2.5 minutes. So we are going to have to follow all these mechanics and actually hide behind the icicles. Okay, 'cause remember, it's 50% if you don't hide. That's a lot of damage. Okay, it looks like I'm going to have to find another fight now that shows phase 2. Sure. All right, so here's another fight that I was able to find. Um, it's not very helpful without my commentary, so hopefully you guys will understand what I'm trying to say. So they're at the point right now where everyone needs to hide behind the icicles. So you can see only about 50% of the players have thought to hide. So the other 50% just lost half their health. Okay. So that's very bad because you can't do as much damage if you lose half your health. Okay, and now we're at the point where he's doing his howling wind, where he's about to knock everybody down with the howling wind and run to the left side of the screen. He's also, when he runs to the left side of the screen, he also creates what they call, here we go. He also creates this thing that they call a frozen area. So if you're in this frozen area, then you don't take damage every second. However, you just saw what happened. Even the person that was standing way on the left here, trying to basically avoid getting thrown across, it didn't matter. They got thrown across anyway. Okay, so some videos you'll see where people were able to kind of like hide over here on the left and avoid getting thrown to the right side. That's not a mechanic anymore that you can rely on. Okay, everyone's going to get thrown to the right. So you're going to see now what I was explaining about why you need to actually stay on the right side and hide behind the icicles. You just saw everyone get wiped out right there. Okay, so two people were able to reach the frozen area, which it's only safe from being taking damage every second. It is not safe from the boulders from the snowball. Okay, so you want, in order to win, you want at least 8 of these stones to be grabbed up by everybody. See that? You see how he threw the boulder straight down? Again, this is not a safe zone, as in you can't be targeted by this boulder. It's safe in a way because you're not taking 1% damage every 1 second. Okay, but anyway, after that phase ends, you can see he's not taking as much damage because so many people died, and also they weren't able to collect enough of the mana stones. So he does have a damage resistance buff. Okay. Um, and then the key is that hopefully now that phase one has started again, see the icicles? Hopefully they can kill him before phase one ends and phase two is going to start again, because you lose a lot of time when he throws everyone to the right side and starts lobbing boulders like he's bowling at you. Okay, so it's really important that we kill him during this phase of the fight here. This would be round two, phase one. Okay, so let's see if these guys manage to do it. It looks like they're going to, but it's really close because he's still gonna make icicles again. Okay, so 3 legions are targeted for icicles. That should happen twice in this phase, and they were able to kill him before this phase ended. So as long as we can do that, then we will get the frame. Okay. But if we can't kill him before that phase one ends, then it's going to take another, what, minute and 40 seconds just to try to do all the mechanics and get back to the left side of the screen where we can damage the boss. So I hope that my explanation of this fight was understandable. And again, I encourage everyone to practice it a couple more times before we do the Elite Frost Giant in the Behemoth Trials campaign section of the game. Um, so let's go get that frame.